You are heartily welcome to today's poetry series, friends. We will be looking at poetry number 184. The title is, If You Do Not Assert Your Leadership Position, the flock will do whatever they wanted or listed. Explained by the story. Arthur Wellesley, the Iron Duke of Wellington, known for his strict nature, was the strict disciplinarian who tolerated no nonsense from his soldiers nor from anybody. He was of the expressed view that if you do not assert your leadership, those whom you lead will do whatever they wish, and that would be disastrous and make nonsense of your leadership if indeed it is for a purpose. He was known throughout the realms and all Europe and beyond, therefore, for his unbending attitude. This discipline perhaps explained his ability to beat the seemingly unbeatable Napoleon Bonaparte. Of all generals at Waterloo, having chalked this unprecedented type of victory plus other successes, the very name of the Duke was enough to inspire fear and awe in everybody. Once he gave an order, it must be carried out. One day, this discipline was put to test. In the first place, the great general was not an obscure person whom anybody could claim they did not know. Even babies born today could identify him, more so when he and his troops were riding in their uniforms and their full regalia, their military medals clearly displayed. He was on his way back from the battlefield and all were agog to catch just a glimpse of him and his troops. How honorable anyone would have felt then if the Duke had to ride through even their bedroom on his way. Men and women, children and animals lined up the street just to see him riding by. It was just like Jesus riding to Jerusalem. Nobody wanted to be left out. At least one should be able to boast that one had not only heard of but as well beheld the great Duke before. They held miniature flags of England, therefore, and stood by the roads for hours once they were sure that the Duke would pass that way. Along the way, his route, for shortcut's sake, had to pass through a field, a cornfield. Unknown to him, this cornfield had been fenced by its poor owner to debar people from passing through it as they stepped on the crops, thus destroying them when passing through it. He had warned them orally for long to no avail, so he had taken to fence the cornfield and placed a gate by it. The instructions had no room for any exceptions. A guard was placed there by the farmer to ensure this. Now the Duke had reached the gate. Certainly, when the instructions were being given, the farmer had not thought of an august figure like the Duke of Wellington himself passing there. Now here was the general himself at the gates. As stated, one could not make any mistake in identifying the general, more so with such a large troop of top-ranking officers within. Yet the servant guard, who was but a boy, surprised everyone by refusing to open the gate just because his master had instructed him not to open it for anyone. The Duke was not anyone anyway. The instructions could not have included the great celebrated soldier himself. Yet all the boy knew was that he had been instructed not to open the gate for anyone. The Duke, who was not used to being disobeyed, was nonplussed. He was compelled to tell the guard that I am the Duke of Wellington, hoping this should settle in case the guard did not know who was speaking to him. The guy said he knew, of course, that he was the Duke of Wellington, but he had his instructions to follow from his master. Nothing the Duke said would move the guards to open the gate for him and his noblemen. Some may have been wondering what their leader was doing, talking with that boy instead of just throwing him somewhere and breaking through the gates. Yet truly, great men are noble in the heart. After all these persuasions had failed to impress the adamant boy, finally he and all his mighty soldiers had to turn back. As soon as he turned, the guard whooped in victory, ran to his master and announced that, "Master, I have done what Napoleon could not do. I have turned back the Duke of Wellington." This is the history behind the now popular usage, doing what Napoleon could not do. Meanwhile, though the Iron Duke was dejected from the frustration, he was not angry. Rather, he said, I should be the last person to ask his servant to flout the orders of his master. This is exactly what I have always tried to teach my men. His master must be an uncompromising one. Otherwise, his servant would have opened the gate because this was the Duke of Wellington. If I have a dozen soldiers like this servant, I will conquer the whole world. It is said that he later invited the guards to join his army for having the heart to turn him back according to his master's instructions. The lesson here is, my friend, that even the evil one recognizes competence and wisdom. Wield competence and wisdom and be recognized by the world. Thank you and God bless.